Jim Larrañaga is on the Toyota of Hollywood hotline. By the way, Heat fans, your seat to the Heat play-in and playoffs is waiting. You can visit heat.com/postseason for tickets. Jim Larrañaga was the head coach at Miami men's basketball team for many glorious seasons. He is an inductee in the Sports Hall of Fame. Friend of the show, joins us every Thursday. We look forward to it. Hello, Coach.
Hello, Hawk. How you doing?
I'm good.
Crowder is
We've got
doing
a lot.
good. Crowder's
Yeah,
not
we've got a
crying
lot of
right
stuff
now,
to
although
get
actually
to.
he's in a smile. What?
Yeah,
We got to get into it, Coach.
We have-
He was crying in
we have a
basketball.
lot of stuff to get to. What if you had a player like Luka last night who was getting emotional during warmups, and admittedly a very emotional scene for him? Crowder lacking a lot of emotion, as you may be able to tell, being a friend of the program for years. Would you be at all concerned as a head coach if your star or one of your stars seemed to be overwhelmed with emotion before a game? And by the way, spoiler alert, it didn't matter. He put up 45 points. So if you were concerned, you didn't need to be.
Yeah, and I'd said, yes, I would be concerned before the game. But once the game began, all that was behind him, and he just started to play basketball. He had an incredible game, and the Lakers, they're going into the playoffs, I think, with the right frame of mind. Luka's made the adjustment to the Lakers. LeBron is happy to have him on board. We'll see how they do, but I think they're in good position. And last night, I was shocked that he was crying and that emotional. But people are who they are. Some people are very emotional. Some people never show any emotion.
And do you have to know that, Coach? As a coach, like some guys go out there and they're all amped up, and then if you see a guy that's usually calm and he's all amped up, do you have to manage 15 guys pregame?
Actually, I have an expression, and I use it all the time: learn the learner. All right. So what does it mean? My job as a coach is to learn the guys I'm working with. They're the learners, right? So I'm trying to learn them. If they're very emotional, how do I help them stay calm? If they're very unemotional, how do I raise their level of emotion to get them to play as hard as they're capable of? I'm going to use the Boston Celtics back in 2008 as an example. I brought in an expert in the emotion. Okay. He called it the EA level, the emotional, I forget what the A is, emotional something, arousal, emotional arousal level. So he said with Kevin Garnett, he was real emotional, always just up and jacked up. And so if he got too jacked up, he was no good. If he was too down, he was no good. But when he was right with his emotional state, he was tremendous, maybe the best big man in the league. Ray Allen was the opposite. He was cool, calm, and collected. His emotional arousal level, you didn't want him to get too high because then he might start missing shots, shooting them too long. Or you definitely didn't want him down low where he felt like he was down in the dumps. That's no good either. The reason the Celtics were so great and Doc Rivers led them to a world championship is because both of those guys played at their EA level almost every single night. They were totally in control of their emotions, even though their emotions were entirely different to their personalities.
All right. Well, let me extrapolate that out to what we saw with Tyler Herro last night. I don't know if there's a correlation or not, but we talked about this at the beginning of the show, and people have talked about it since last night. So there's this sequence in the Heat game. The Heat are down 5. There's about 40 seconds left in the game. Tyler Herro steals the ball from Kobe White. He can have an uncontested layup that'll cut the lead to 3, and they'll need a stop, and it's a one-possession game. He instead chooses to pull up and shoot a 3, and he misses it, and the Bulls turn it into a 3 from Matas Buzelis, and now it's an 8-point lead with 30 seconds to go. Tell us your thoughts of what happened with Tyler Herro last night.
My first thought is, how the heck do you miss an easy shot like that? That's the kind of 3 that's like a layup. You don't miss shot. If Steph Curry did that, would you question it? Or Damian Lillard or James Harden? Would you just say, oh, dang, they missed? And I think in Tyler's case, he just made the 3 before it. He's in total rhythm. There's no one in front of him. You say he can get the layup. Now, if that were me as the player, I go for the layup because I believe in my three, but I more believe in my layup. But in Tyler's case, he probably thought this is like a layup. I'm wide open. I got an easy one. The tough part for the coach is not the missed shot. It's the response to the missed shot where you give up the three. And that's the problem with missing. When you miss, if you don't get back defensively, you don't set your defense, and the other team gets an open three, which the Bulls did, they make the open three, and now it's under 40 seconds. It was 42 seconds when we missed. Now it's under 40 seconds when they hit. Now we have so little time to come back from an 8-point deficit. But Tyler, he had, what do you have? The F30? How many do you have?
So,
24 or 30, right?
30.
Yeah. And so, he's thinking to himself, I just made one. I'm going to make this one. This is an easy shot for me. If it was Duncan Robinson, I would have preferred he shoot the three. I don't think he's that good at making layups. So,
but if you're the coach, then let's say it's the timeout or post game, you're saying to Tyler, "Hey, the lesson there." You're not saying, "Hey, you got to take that layup and cut it to one possession." Your coaching methodology after that is, "Hey, you got to get back on D if you miss that shot."
Well, you got to get back on D whether you make it or miss it. The whole key, and why you watch in the NCAA tournament, teams come from behind, is because the mindset changes. So a player that's very, very aggressive, playing great, getting his team a lead of 6, 8, 10, 12 points, and then now all of a sudden you're only up 1 or 2 or 3, a 1-possession, 2-possession game, and you're thinking now more conservatively, I just want the clock to run. Let them foul me. I know I can make free throws. The mindset. That's why when we talk about mental toughness, that's what's required of players at the end of game to make the tough decisions work. And that Tyler Herro had a tough decision. Do I go for the layup and cut the lead to 3, or do I bury this 3, cut the lead to 2? Now we set our defense 1 possession. Now the pressure is all on the Bulls. So, unfortunately for the Heat, it didn't work in their favor. But you turn around, don't they play the Bulls again? No, they're done with the Bulls.
Maybe in the play-in tournament.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I thought they played the Bulls again, but okay. So
no, just 2 games left, right, Solana? It's just Washington and New Orleans.
No, they play, New Orleans tomorrow, Washington Sunday at home.
And then done for the regular season, and they open up playoffs in Wednesday?
They'll play, that 9-10 play-in matchup would be Wednesday, and if they win, they'd play Friday, the loser of the 7-8.
Yeah. The NBA playoffs, I mean, the difference in the play-in is it's like the NCAA tournament. Yeah, won and done. You lose, you're going home.
Yeah. Hey, Coach Al, it's funny because as fans, we always say this guy is feeling it. He's feeling, he's hot and all that. As a coach, do you ever say, dude's feeling it? Because I felt that way about Walter Clayton Jr. I'm a Gator, so we just won the championship.
You were enjoying that, huh?
I had a good time, Coach. But as a coach, you'd be like, hey, back to Shane Larkin, all the great players you coach. Do you ever be like, he's feeling it? Just go play ball.
Well, let's go back to game situations. Let's forget the situation Tyler Herro was in, and let's move forward into let's say he made that shot. You're now only down 2. You got to get a stop, and you get the stop. Now you're coming down, and now let's say there's only 10 seconds to play. Do you go for the 2, the tie, and try to put it into overtime? Do you drive the ball to the basket trying to get fouled and leave it up to the refs? Or do you go for an open 3 like Tyler had? Then the players have to deliver. That it all comes down to the players making the mentally tough decisions. The coach can give you the plan. He can give you the perfect game plan, but the players have to execute. They have to make the shots. You look at the end of the Duke game where they miss a free throw, they miss a little turnaround jumper, and they lose. Florida made all the big plays. Walter Clayton Jr., He was the Steph Curry, like Steph Curry in the Olympics. He making all the big shots, the big threes, putting people to sleep. These players are unbelievable. And then Houston, the guy goes up. He made the big shot to get him in the finals. He goes up, and Walter Clayton flies at him to try to block the shot, and he causes basically what turned into a turnover. So, I love basketball. I love watching it, whether it's high school, college, the pros. Because you have some of these what I call reality TV. You just don't know what to expect, and the endings are always unbelievable.
And Coach, with the Gators, with Coach Golden, is he that good? They were down in the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight, the Final Four, and the championship game. They were down double digits 3 out of the 4 games. In the second half, they come back and they end up winning. Is that like to your point? Is that on the players tightening up or Golden figuring it out?
Okay, the first thing is you got to give Coach Golden a lot of credit for keeping his players focused not on the score, but on the game. There's a big difference. If you look up at the score and say, oh, we're behind, we're not going to win this, you get yourself in a negative. All right? But if you're focused on the game, your coach is telling you, hey, one possession at a time, let's get a stop, and then let's get a bucket, and just keep plugging away. And as you cut into the lead, the pressure all shifts from you being behind to your opponent feeling your footsteps. And so I thought Florida did a sensational job of that. I think Coach Golden did a fantastic job of keeping his players in the process, not playing the score, but playing the game. Force a turnover, get a rebound, get a bucket, all right? Because guys like the Houston, their last 4 possessions, I'm sure Kelvin Sampson was like, what just happened to us? All right. We just turned the ball over needlessly. But that's what happens in games. The pressure continues to shift back and forth from team to team.
By the way, if you're not following Jim Larrañaga on social media, you should be, because he does a lot of these hypotheticals that we throw at him. He gives you, here's the situation. What would you do? And he gives you an A, B, or C. But all the situations that he gives you, this is on Twitter, Instagram, he's actually been through all of them. A lot of them are fascinating to me, Coach, because I could make a case for A, B, or C, the answers that you give. People are enjoying that. You're enjoying doing this. Obviously, with so many years of coaching experience, you have been faced with just about every situation that a coach could be faced with.
Well, all of those situations are very real. They were either, for me personally, what I had to make a choice with, or friends of mine who are head coaches. And I've enjoyed asking my followers, hey, if you were the coach, you're sitting in the audience, you're in the crowd, you're thinking, what should a coach do? He should call a timeout. He should do this. He should do that. Well, now I'm giving you a chance to actually express your point of view to me. I'm the coach, and here's the questions. What would you do? Here's A, choose this, B, C. These are 3 different options that every coach has in these situations. And have you seen my new one yesterday? I already got almost 250,000 hits on my latest post. It's called True Story. I'm telling mini stories online. Did you hear about that?
I didn't see that one.
Oh, you got to go, Hawk, and see it. All you guys, Solana and Crowdy, you got to go. So I told a story, very, very true story. When I was an assistant at Virginia, and we were recruiting 4 players, 3 from New York.
I did see this. This is a wild story.
1 from upstate New York. And we picked the kids up in New York City. But when we picked the kid up from upstate New York, we knocked on the door. He opens the door, and he had a little dog, family dog, goes running out. And so we had a taxi cab picking him up. So he gets in the cab, and as the cab takes off, it runs over the dog. It hits the dog.
That's not funny. How are you laughing at that? That's not funny.
The recruit gets out of the cab, to comfort the dog, and the dog bites him on the hand and opens up like a 3-inch gash. It's bleeding. So
This is not a great recruiting visit.
no, well, again, you think to yourself, you're a coach. You got to make this decision what to do. So what we did, we told the parents, look at we got the best hand specialists in the country at University of Virginia. We wrapped his hand in a towel. We flew him down. We took the visit. The dog lived, and he came to Virginia. So all's well that ends well.
It's
And
that
so people
lifelong
can
question.
follow my story online.
Can you
Kate's Coach
turn
L.
a run-over dog and a dog bite into a positive interaction? And he says yes is the answer.
Coach,
Crazy.
Settle this debate, because this is going back 2 years. You lose, and sorry to relitigate this, but you lose in the Final Four, the semifinal. FAU loses the same year in the semifinal. I come on the air the next day. I tell Hawk and Crowder, hey, I'd love for there to be a third-place game in the Final Four in the NCAA tournament. The World Cup has a third-place game. The Olympics has a bronze medal game. Why don't we get the opportunity to watch FAU, even if it's not for a national title? And I think it stands now. I would have loved to have seen Cooper Flagg and Auburn and Duke play in a third-place game. Do you agree there should be a third-place game in the NCAA tournament?
Well, Solana, there used to be a third-place game. And I was involved at the University of Virginia playing LSU in the very last consolation game, the third-place game in 1981, and we beat LSU. But it was the same day that Ronald Reagan got shot. President Reagan was shot that day. And so after the Final Four was over and everybody was reviewing it, they said, you know what? We shouldn't have even played that consolation game.
Right. What are we doing?
Discussion, that was the last consolation game. Now, if you ask me if I wanted to play 2 years ago and play FAU, are you crazy? No way. It's hard enough. It's hard enough you play on Saturday to get up and play a game that did not have any meaning. That no one cares if you finish third or fourth.
Like there's no way you can motivate the troops, right? There's no way you can motivate the troops. They're heartbroken. They want to be playing in the championship game.
Exactly.
Now you're going to somehow get them up for a game that's going to be sparsely attended and doesn't mean anything. It would be impossible, no?
No, it's impossible. Kids don't care. That our Virginia team that won that last consolation game in 1981, there was so much depression in the locker room afterwards. And then on Sunday, we didn't even practice. We just showed up and played the game, and LSU was more down than we were.
Who's less down?
Jim Larrañaga, we love talking to you on Thursdays, and we will do it again next Thursday. The NBA playoffs will have started when we reconvene. So thank you for today. We'll talk to you next week.
Looking forward to it, guys.